2 nights ago, they started out even. The San Antonio Spurs and the New York Knicks ready to begin the NBA Finals. But soon enough, Tim Duncan, David Robinson, and the Spurs showed why they might be unstoppable. Their inside dominance and outside precision are nothing to shake your head at. Just ask the Knicks, who experienced the first Game 1 loss of their unlikely postseason run. Now, they must ask themselves a question for which there may be no answer. How do you stop the league's best? Yet time and again, they have beaten the odds. Each setback, each bit of adversity, serving as a spur to greater success. Now the injury-racked Knicks face their biggest challenge, and if this gritty group is to rewrite the story of this series, they must do it against a Spurs team that is healthy and peaking. San Antonio has won a record-tying 11 consecutive playoff games. They're looking for 3 more. Game 2 next.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1999 NBA Finals. Tonight, Game 2. The New York Knicks versus the San Antonio Spurs.
Another crowd in the vicinity of 40,000 has gathered at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, knowing this might be the last time they'll see their beloved Spurs this year. In each of their first 3 playoff victories, they close their opponent out on the road. But if they've had any trouble at all, and you have to really look for it in this postseason, it has come in Game 2. Their lone loss was here on this floor, Game 2 of the opening round against Minnesota. And they needed last possession baskets against both the Lakers and the Trailblazers to prevail in Game 2 in the next 2 rounds. So welcome to Game 2 of the Finals. With Doug Collins, I'm Bob Costas. How do the Knicks make it competitive and get out of here with a split?
Well, Bob, the Spurs know the keys for Allen Houston and Latrell Sprewell. They want to go after them and wear them down. They did that in Game 1. You see in the first quarter, Allen Houston, fresh legs, was very fresh, shot the ball very well. Coming out of the halftime break, Sprewell and Houston, fresh legs, they shot it very well once again. So the first and third quarters, when they were fresh, you see what they shot. A combined 13 of 22, 27 points. But the Spurs said, we're going to wear you down, we're going to make you work for everything. Second quarter, that open jump shot, a little short by Allen Houston. Fourth quarter, Sprewell drives it to the basket, the block shot. And you can see in the second and fourth quarters, they just wore him down. 3 of 19, 1 of 12 in the fourth period. We know what New York wants to do. They've got to keep their front line out of foul trouble, keep these 2 guys fresh, keep the game close, and try to steal it at the end, Bob.
And in Game 1, the absence of Patrick Ewing was really felt. Not only what he could contribute offensively and on the glass, but that's 6 more fouls to use, and their big men got in foul trouble quickly in Game 1. If you're San Antonio, there isn't much you're looking to change.
Keep pounding the ball inside. They have tremendous mismatches inside with Robinson and Duncan. And New York tried a lot of different strategies. They said, we're going to front the post. Well, you know what? San Antonio's seen that. They space the floor, they swing it, they throw over the top, and Duncan gets the layup. They said, well, you know what? We'll lay behind. Duncan said, I'll back you deep, I'll spin, and I'll get a layup. So, well, if it goes into Robinson, we'll help off Jaren Jackson. He reads the double team, kicks it out, and Jaren Jackson, 1 of his 5 big 3-point shots. So what you're going to do if you're San Antonio, keep pounding the ball inside, try to get timely 3-point shooting. If you're New York, they want to take Jaren Jackson out of the game tonight. Bob?
All right, Doug, let's check with our sideline reporters, beginning with Ahmad Rashad.
Thank you very much, Bob. You know, overconfidence is something that the San Antonio Spurs have been thinking about after the Game 1. I talked to Avery Johnson about that. He said, we are not worried about the New York Knicks because that would sort of affect our faith in our team. We are confident that if we do the things that we do, we can beat this team. Now, I also, when you talk about confidence, it comes up Jaren Jackson. Now, here's a guy that was not even drafted into the NBA, played on 8 teams, and he has been on fire not only in this series, but in the past 2 series. I talked to Jaren about that, and Jaren said, you know, every time I go out, I try to prove that I belong. I'm trying to show that I have enough game to show that I belong here. He said a lot of people don't realize I have 3 championship rings. 2 in the CBA, 1 in the WBL, but that is not enough. The one I want is the NBA championship ring, and that will do 2 things. That'll, 1, show that I am a champion, and 2, that'll show that I belong. Let's go down to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Ahmad. I spoke to Jeff Van Gundy, and he told his team before the game that only one guy played efficiently enough for the Knicks to win in Game 1, and that was Kurt Thomas. He told the rest of them that they did not. He went on to tell them that he needs 6 guys tonight to be efficient if they are going to win. He also went on to tell them that since the NBA went back to its current 2-3-2 configuration in the finals, that no team has won 3 straight games at home. So tonight's win is a game that he feels is imperative for the Knicks to win. Now, a quick injury update. Larry Johnson told me his knee is feeling much better tonight. He will be more mobile, less tentative, and he will be shooting the ball quite a bit. And Chris Dudley, he has a hyperextended right elbow. He cannot bend his arm or make it go straight. He is having terrible trouble with his range of motion. He told us he will not be shooting any threes tonight, and I'm sure that's quite a relief to Knicks fans. Bob?
Boy, what a strange strategy, prohibiting Chris Dudley from hoisting up threes. We'll step aside for a moment. Tip-off for Game 2 just minutes away. Hannah Storm and the Showtime crew will be next.
NBA Showtime is brought to you by E-Trade, the #1 place to invest online.
Hi everyone, Hannah Storm back in San Antonio along with Isaiah Thomas, Peter Vesey, and Bill Walton. The Knicks lose Game 1. No Patrick Ewing and Larry Johnson playing hurt. How did the Spurs take advantage, Isaiah?
The game plan was simple. Attack Larry Johnson, whether it be with Tim Duncan in the second half or David Robinson in the first half. Larry Johnson guarding David Robinson in the first half. It's too short. David Robinson simply overpowers him. The Knicks can't afford to get in foul trouble because their bench is so depleted.
So what sort of changes do you think they should make tonight?
We have to take Charlie Ward out of the lineup and insert Marcus Camby. And you just concede that you're going to lose the Robinson and Duncan matchups. But you force Sean Elliott to guard Larry Johnson in the post. And where you really strike gold is when Avery Johnson has to cover Allen Houston. You force Mario Elie to guard Latrell Sprewell, and you hope that your perimeter game will counteract their interior game. Because the Knicks can't afford to fall behind San Antonio because they're too good defensively.
I'm for anything that keeps Charlie Ward off the court. Has this guy ever tried football, Peter?
You know what, Hannah? It's very important to change strategy or change lineups after a loss, if for no other reason than to show your team that you've got ideas, that you're thinking, you're going to show them direction and give them hope. But let's not forget here that this is the first series that the Knicks haven't won the first game. So Jeff Van Gundy has to adjust. It's the first time for him. He has to react, but Isaiah, he doesn't have to overreact.
They had a lot of problems at the basket, Bill, with the Twin Towers blocking all those shots, particularly David Robinson. How did the Knicks adjust?
Hannah, normally the penetration and dish strategy is terrific, but with Patrick Ewing out, it's just not going to work. Sprewell turning the corner, but David Robinson is there. The option for laying it off is Chris Dudley. Chris Dudley already playing hurt with the bad elbow from Game 1. David Robinson keeps everything in play. Sprewell, persistent, stubborn to a fault. The openings are not at the basket area, but at the free throw line, the 12 to 15-foot area. This will not get it done as David Robinson turns all this into fast break. But for New York, it all comes back to scoring on the offensive end. If Spree is going to go 9 for 24, if Chris Childs is going to go 1 for 8, it's not going to happen for New York. Perfection. That's the order of the day. Make a shot, please.
First of all, the Knicks can't be a jump shooting team. Sprewell, if he's going to take it to the hoop, don't take it soft. Assault the hoop. I think the most important thing is here, press Avery Johnson from the get-go. Make it as difficult for him to get into their offense as possible. Wipe as much time off the 24-second clock as possible.
Well, in Game 1, the Spurs ran a lot of their offense through David Robinson. Did struggle shooting, going just 3 for 10 from the floor in Game 1, but had a fine all-around game, 9 rebounds and 7 assists. After 10 years in the league, Robinson, at last, playing in his first NBA Finals. Drafted by the Spurs in 1987, his entry into the league was delayed by 2 years by a stint in the U.S. Navy. It has been a career filled with achievement, but also at times disappointment. At halftime, David Robinson reflects on his basketball journey. Robinson's Spurs can make NBA postseason history tonight, looking to win their 12th straight playoff game. The tip-off of Game 2 is coming up. The NBA Finals continue on NBC after these messages.
NBA on NBC is brought to you by Smooth Refreshing Michelob Light, Beer or Michelob. By Honda, a winning lineup of cars, sport utility vehicles, and minivans. By American Express. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more. And by Nike.
Returning to the Alamo Dome, they're on the floor for the opening tip. Here are the lineups. Dudley will guard Robinson. And Larry Johnson will guard Tim Duncan at the outset.
The strategy there is they hope that Dudley can take away Robinson's post-up. They said Larry Johnson really can't guard either one of them. Duncan has been such a force inside. They'll have to give him some help, though, because they're going to go right at Larry Johnson.
The tip to the Spurs. The officials, Joe Crawford, Jess Kersey, and Danny Crawford. Johnson returns it to Duncan. His turnaround in the lane starts game 2.
See, he has such a size matchup, Bobby. He can just take his time. If he feels the double team, throw it back out, get deeper position, get it back.
Ellie on Houston. Johnson alone for 3. That's what he didn't do in game 1.
Well, that's what Jim Gray said he was going to do. He said he was feeling better. He was going to look for the quick 3. That's a great sign for New York.
Here's Sean Elliott. Shot the ball only 6 times in game 1. Wastes no time getting one away here and gets a very kind roll on it.
Remember, he only took 1 shot in the first half of game 1. They came right out in the third quarter and tried to get him involved. Tonight, second play of the game.
Duncan on Johnson. Jumper over him. The rebound to Sean Elliott. But Larry Johnson, who shot only 3 times in 21 minutes in game 1, has taken the first 2 Knicks shots. Sean Elliott spins out. Knicks looking to run. Here's Sprewell to the rack, but it's blocked by Robinson. The Spurs big men run the floor so well. They'll get down there with your little guys. Here's Ellie inside.
Great start here for San Antonio. They've gotten everybody involved in the game. Elliott's got a basket. Ellie, Duncan, all the guys actively involved here, not just the big men.
Johnson screening for Ward. Houston finds Dudley. Thinks about it, double pumps. It's partially blocked. Larry Johnson chases it down. Tim Duncan is shaken up. Ellie has a steal and takes off. He's fouled from behind by Charlie Ward. But the bigger concern is what happened to Tim Duncan.
Well, he went up to challenge the shot of Chris Dudley, and I don't know where the contact came from. He actually got pump faked into the air. You see Duncan here. He goes in the air, gets pump faked. As he came down, it looked like maybe got slapped in the face. Take a better look here at a different angle to see if we can see where it occurred. Looked on the follow-through that he got slapped in the face. And really a real break there because Duncan was out of the play. They were going to be playing 4-on-5. Ellie gets a steal, drives at the other end, and gets a layup, gives him a chance here, Bob, to recover a little bit.
One more look.
See, he leaves his feet, and then I think David Robinson, it was actually Dudley on the follow-through, gets him. I think it was more of a slap than anything else.
David Robinson, meanwhile, with 2 blocks already. Ellie hits a pair of free throws. You can see his left eye is a bit red and swollen, but no blood, so he doesn't have to leave the floor. Sprewell. Dudley trying to keep it alive. It winds up in Ward's hands for the New York bucket.
One of the real concerns for San Antonio, they've got a defensive rebound the ball. 13 offensive rebounds in game 1 that led to 19 points.
Robinson. Dudley fouled him, and he'll come to the line for 2.
Bob, we're going to see when Chris Dudley's in the ball game right here, they're not really going to guard him. They're not worried about him offensively. So when Larry Johnson starts to make his move, they're not even concerned about him. They're going to spend. The one thing they have to do is keep him off the offensive backboard. He got the tip that kept it alive, and then he got a second shot for his team. And again, about 19 of their 77 points in that first game came off offensive rebounds.
You have to laugh at those who say the Knicks are a better team without Patrick Ewing. They'd be a better team with Ewing as the second or third option, perhaps, and not pounding the ball into him. But they'd be playing 5-on-5 on the offensive end, and you'd have to respect him big time.
Oh, no question. Ewing is a terrific spot-up little medium-range jump shooter. They miss that against these big guys who get in that lane and block shots.
Houston with a nice pass to Sprewell, but he can't finish it. Sean Elliott against the smaller Ward. Duncan's open from 20. Air ball. Knicks trail by 5 as Houston comes back. His pass knocked out of bounds by Mario Elie.
Sprewell has taken the ball to the basket twice on a fast break and a block on this one. Taking it to the basket and gets a block. Bobby took 24 shots in game 1 and did not get to the free throw line. He must get to the free throw line.
His jumper from the side is no good, and Duncan takes it.
He pulled a string on that one. He tried to guide that one in the basket.
But those big men of San Antonio change everything. They swing it around the perimeter to Avery Johnson. He penetrates, then finds Elie. Set shot 3. Dudley claims the rebound. But when New York has the ball, either you don't go into the paint, or when you do, you're challenged, or you change your shot anticipating the challenge. Houston misses it.
There's another one, though. Duncan came over and forced him to change the shot, Bob.
Duncan out of the double to Elie. Sean Elliott. Avery Johnson. They dare him, and he misses.
Bob, you can already see much more aggressive in the post from New York. They're forcing him to kick that ball out. They've already taken more perimeter shots in the first quarter of this game than they did the entire first quarter of game 1.
Good pass inside to Houston. Off the Charlie Ward assist, he scores with the left-hand reverse. Elie back to Duncan, and a whistle from Jess Kersey. Jess Kersey is the lone former ABA official still working in the NBA.
Now, Allen Houston is driving that ball to the basket, and you see Duncan comes over just enough to bother him. And the next time he makes a nice little cut along that baseline, gets behind the defense. This time the big men are lifted out, and they cannot give any help, and he gets a layup.
Speaking of layups, there's one for David Robinson. Spurs by 5. Sprewell curls out, takes the pass, then tries to find Dudley, who juggles it, and they set it up again. Sprewell, that ability to stop and elevate quickly.
He has that great little mid-range game. He has that ability to pull up in there and make that shot. We saw that in game 1, but as he got tired, he missed those.
Duncan's hook isn't there. Knocked away from Dudley and out of bounds by Robinson.
The degree of difficulty by Latrell Sprewell sometimes is incredible. You see him spur him up with that lightning first step. He gets to the basket, the little bump over 2 defenders, and he knocks it in. That's a nice shot by Latrell Sprewell.
Game 2 has been problematic for the Spurs in this postseason. Their lone defeat came against Minnesota in the first round. It took Tim Duncan's game winner and Kobe Bryant's missed free throws to sink the Lakers in Game 2 of the conference semis. And Sean Elliott's improbable three-pointer against Portland continued the Game 2 roller coaster.
We're battling with that. We're trying to figure that out. Maybe it's a comfort level after knowing, we're up 1-0. And thinking that it's going to be a little easier. Maybe it's that. I don't know.
You start to press. Your execution suffers. You try to do things too quickly, and all of a sudden you find yourself in a dogfight. And I think that's what's happened to us in the Game 2s.
Minnesota beat them in the second game of the playoffs, and they barely escaped Game 2 against the Lakers and the Trailblazers. Considering all that, plus the fact that they're unbeaten on the road in the postseason at 6-0 and the best road team overall for the season, the Knicks better win tonight. Here's Houston. A little bit of daylight, and that's all he needs.
You see what New York did that time. Charlie Ward went over and set a screen, and he actually got a mismatch now where Allen Houston could just shoot the ball over Avery.
Avery Johnson lost it, and off the save, it ignites a New York break that Sprewell closes in emphatic fashion.
See, that was a very unselfish play. Sprewell, 1 of 5 to start the game, 1 of 8 in the fourth quarter, game 1.
Johnson has room for a 3 and misses it. San Antonio looking to protect the ball a bit better. They've turned it over the last 2 times they've had it. Knicks on a 6-0 run to take the lead by 1. Avery Johnson. Rebound to Dudley. Houston against Ellie, who cuts him off, so he shoots over him, and it's short. Duncan got it.
Took his time that time, Bob. I thought the last couple possessions, he got a little quick with it, got a little excited, feeling that he had the mismatch. That was more of the patience we see from Duncan.
Six on the 24 as Sprewell backs in. The double comes, so he finds Johnson for 3. Air ball.
See, Duncan was poised, waiting to go back and give help. And although Larry Johnson hit an early 3, they're going to make him make some of those shots.
And he's missed his last 3 attempts. Elliott had it knocked away. New York looking to run. San Antonio gets a couple of men back. Out of bounds, touched last by the Knicks. It wasn't just any 2 men back. It was the Twin Towers, and that changed what could have been a New York break.
Well, Bob, you said it earlier, how well their big men run. It looked like Allen Houston had a play there. Once again, David Robinson made him alter his shot.
Duncan, a half-foot taller than Johnson, which is why he's able to get that shot off so easily. But he couldn't hit it. Sprewell fires. Up and over the glass. It'll belong to the Spurs.
It's amazing when you have 2 big men who can run back and get back on defense like this. Looks like Allen Houston has a drive, and you see that David Robinson back. He pump fakes him up in the air, but he has to lean in to shoot the basketball, and there is Duncan on the boards.
Mario Ellie. It would have been a 2-pointer. He was just inches over the line. Dudley's out. Kurt Thomas is in now for New York. First man off the bench for Van Gundy. Johnson made the change his shot, had the double pump, and it's blocked. Here's Thomas. The rebound to little Avery Johnson. Larry Johnson just had nowhere to go, even though he appeared to have good position when he caught the pass.
Well, we saw Brian Grant do it in the previous series. You can't pump fake and get those guys in the air. You just got to be able to step out on the floor and make some shots. And Larry Johnson's got to trust his perimeter shot. Kurt Thomas with a quick foul. Now New York has a team on the floor, Bob, where all 5 guys you have to honor because they can shoot the basketball. Let's see if they can take advantage of that. Maybe Thomas and Larry Johnson make an outside shot.
Mario Ellie slides along the baseline for the jam.
Allen Houston, very poor closeout at that time. You got to make Mario Ellie make some jump shots. He's really struggled from the perimeter in the playoffs. Pump fakes him and gets a dunk. You don't want to give him anything easy.
Timeout, New York. 3:15 to play in the first quarter. Spurs by 3.
From the three-point line in the playoffs going into tonight. Allen Houston with a very poor closeout. Ellie with a powerful finish. And when you got a guy struggling from the field, don't give him anything easy. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Doug, we played almost 9 minutes. At what point do we see Camby and Childs off the Knicks bench?
I think you're going to see them really quickly because New York is really struggling offensively. 6 of 21, only 29%. And Camby can score with activity. He can give you offensive rebounds. He can make the little medium-range shot. And Childs has played much better in the playoffs than Charlie Ward, although in Game 1, Childs was only 1 for 8. But I think you'll see them really soon, and Jeff Van Gundy's going to count on them to give him a real big lift coming in the game. They're within 3. He has to like his position right now.
Robinson and Elliott are out for San Antonio, and in are Malik Rose and Jaren Jackson. Houston's long jumper is off no good, and Malik Rose is there for the rebound. Camby is at the scorer's table. The lob to Duncan. Easy two. Johnson trying to front him. No chance.
Bob, if you're going to front in the post, you can't let that ball come back to the top because he's walking him up the lane and just throwing right over the top of his head. They got to deny that swing pass.
Ward lost it. Ellie up with it. 3-on-2 if they push it. New York now gets back. Duncan to Ellie. Mario along the baseline. Tough shot, won't go for him. Ward's pass picked off by Jaren Jackson. Jackson on the move, trying to find Ellie in the lane. Ball squirts loose. Mario to the floor to save it. Jaren Jackson for 3. Can't pick up where he left off a couple of nights ago.
A frenetic pace in this first quarter.
And Ellie pokes it away from Houston, still New York ball.
Here comes Childs and Camby. Now, Charlie Ward made back-to-back turnovers, so he's coming out of the game. Camby comes in. But you know what? New York is expending an awful lot of energy right now early in this game and not getting a lot accomplished, Bob. That's not a good sign, as we know that San Antonio wore them down in Game 1 with that size and depth.
Mario Ellie cheerleading as he goes to the bench. Sean Elliott back in. Houston pump fakes, now lets it go and hits it.
Sean Elliott made a mistake right there. He had Allen Houston. He left him to go give help. They do not want to let Allen Houston get open shots.
Prior to that hoop, the Knicks had gone about 5 minutes without scoring. They still trail, though, by only 3. Malik Rose knocked away from him. Sprewell's got it. To Camby, who blew the layup.
How many easy shots has New York missed in this first period?
Which you can't afford to do against a team as heavily favored as San Antonio on their floor. Elliott's shot rattles in and out. Childs to Camby, who can't catch it.
See, one of the things that New York doesn't want to do is turn the ball over. You want to run and run wisely, Bob, but you can't turn it over. And in Game 1, they had more turnovers than assists. 15 turnovers, only 12 assists.
Here's Sean Elliott bouncing to Duncan against Thomas with the turnaround hook that's no good. Knicks could get a 2-for-1 here if they get off a quick shot. They seem unconcerned with that as they set it up. 6 on the shot clock. Houston out of a double team. It's Thomas who's open. No luck on the shot. Camby on the glass. Took the shot more quickly than he had to.
I think the horn distracted him. He heard the shot clock, and he got the shot up quickly. It's going to give him an opportunity for San Antonio to score. That's a bad play by Camby.
On a running right-handed hook by Avery Johnson. Now Sprewell beats the buzzer, but misses completely. Wow, bad exchange for the Knicks. I think you're right. Camby heard that buzzer. There were still 8 seconds. He took a quick shot thinking he had to, and then Avery Johnson hit a very difficult shot on the run at the other end, making it a 5-point San Antonio lead after 12 minutes. And you're watching the NBA on NBC.
You're watching the NBA Finals on NBC.
Antonio leads by 5 after a frenetic, fast-paced first quarter. New York had a lot of easy opportunities, but the hesitation, that's what that shot blocking will do. Robinson gets a piece. Here's Sprewell. Duncan once again comes over and thwarts the effort. Allen Houston looks like he's got a layup. Here comes Duncan at the last minute again. And then Campy, who was wound up and full of energy, misses an easy layup. And the easy misses around the basket. 7 of 27. They're only down 5, which is a good sign. And, you know, Bob, Marcus Camby came in the Indiana series, and he channeled his energy into positive things. He's really hyper right now. He's got to calm himself down and use that energy in a positive way.
Steve Kerr's in for San Antonio as the second quarter begins. Larry Johnson's back on the floor for New York, and an illegal defense against the Spurs.
See, I think, you know, what Jeff Van Gundy's trying to do with Camby and Childs is trying to do the best he can, if that score stays close, to keep them off that bench to come in. Now he's going to have to be able to decide, does he have to bring them in sooner or not? We'll have to see based upon this results.
Kurt Thomas guarded by Sean Elliott, who fouled him. New York has missed 12 of its last 13 field goal attempts, and Latrell Sprewell really can't find the range. Remember, he was 1 for 8 in the fourth quarter of game 1, 2 for 8 in the opening period of this game. The foul a moment ago was the first foul of the entire game against San Antonio. Now Duncan rebounds Thomas's miss.
Now the Spurs have 3 very good three-point shooters on the floor, so if they help in the post, the 3 could be available. They do not want to leave Jaren Jackson, but Kerr can shoot it.
Duncan was fouled. Folks, while watching the game, you can log on to NBA.com for expert analysis, head-to-head stats, shot charts and the like, in-game video highlights, all at NBA.com. Let me ask you this, Doug. It's been tried before with Sampson and Olajuwon in Houston, going back even to Nate Thurmond and Wilt for a while with the Warriors, and for a while before the DeBusschere trade, Bellamy and Reed in New York. Why does this set of twin towers really work?
Because I don't really think they're natural centers. They have the great ability to play out on the floor. They both can shoot the ball. They both can pass. They can run. They both can play inside out based upon mismatches. So they're a very good fit. They both defend and help each other out. So, Bob, they're not that natural center that plays with his back to the basket and you try to convert one of them. They're both playing very naturally.
Duncan hits 1 of 2, 6-point lead for San Antonio. Into Thomas for the jump hook that's no good. Camby with a tip try, but that won't fall. Duncan had it knocked away by Thomas and taken by Camby. Childs weaves his way back to the front court. Larry Johnson, but hold on. Another illegal defense, second in the space of a minute or so, and that results in a technical foul.
That's twice on Malik Rose now, where he's gotten down actually 2 zones away from his man, and this one will be a technical. Allen Houston will get to shoot the free throw, but Malik Rose has got to get up there. He doesn't want to keep giving free points away to a New York team that's struggling right now to score.
New York's first free throw opportunity of the entire game.
Well, Sprewell's taken 32 shots in a game and a quarter and a half, and he has not gotten to the free throw line yet, and that's key to their team. In the 4 games that he started, the 2 games that he did not get to the free throw line, they lost both of those.
Rose on Johnson. Elliott comes over and kicks it away, so that gives them a fresh 24. Knicks trail by only 5, but they've missed 14 of their last 15 field goals.
Well, they have to be very happy they're this close to San Antonio. San Antonio has made some errors, and New York has forced them into some tough plays, but they've got to convert as Robinson gives Tim Duncan his first rest.
Fierce battle for position between Larry Johnson and Malik Rose. Malik forced him a bit further from the hoop than Larry wanted to be. Now he takes it to the paint. Robinson comes over to bother it, though, and more than bother it, he blocked it.
I can't say enough that Larry Johnson's got to understand he's not going to be able to score in the paint. He's going to have to trust that little jump shot. You know, Bob, we talked about it. We saw it against Portland. They frustrated Brian Grant after a great series against Utah. They gave him nothing in the paint.
That was Robinson's 3rd block. And now at the other end, he's pushed and fouled. We'll sort it out when we come back.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Miller Lite, taste a true Pilsner. By Jeep, makers of Grand Cherokee, Cherokee, and Wrangler. By Big Daddy, a new film from Columbia Pictures, opens everywhere June 25th. And by IBM. Are you ready for e-business?
Ahmad Rashad back in beautiful San Antonio. Now, San Antonio is one of America's 4 unique cities, according to Will Rogers, identified alongside Boston, New Orleans, and San Francisco as being unlike any other place in the country. We have enjoyed the tremendous hospitality here during the week, especially Bob Costas, who I saw riding one of these river barges down the Riverwalk. Let's go over to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Ahmad. Well, this is the outer limits of the Alamo Dome. All of these fans up here have paid $15 for an obstructed view seat just to get into the dome and see a part of the game. They have a better chance of seeing our television trucks and seeing the big screen. All of these seats have been sent to them by the Bob Uecker Foundation, but one fan had a very good line. He'd like to call housekeeping to have the drapes pulled. Bob?
Jim, thanks very much. You know, this is a wonderful city, but of course, Will Rogers never met a city he didn't like. David Robinson at the line. Something else about San Antonio. There is no other major professional sports team in any other sport here. There are multiple teams in every sport in New York. And even when you talk about some of the other ABA cities who haven't made it this far, Denver has had a Super Bowl champion, a Stanley Cup champion. The Nets are in the same market as the Knicks, and they won in the ABA. The Pacers won in the ABA. San Antonio's waited 26 years. They've never seen anything that would approach an NBA championship. Here's Allen Houston. Over Elliott. Camby on the offensive glass in between Robinson and Elliott. The foul comes before the shot.
See, I think Camby is going to become more effective as he gets a little tired in this game. He'll calm himself down a little bit. That was a terrific offensive rebound. And Bob, it's amazing. New York is 7 for 31 in this game and only trailed by 6 points. That's a very positive sign for New York.
Foul on Robinson was his first. Chris Childs spins out. He claims he was fouled by Steve Kerr. New York has made one of its last 18 shots. Here's Kerr. Got inside Childs. Up in the air, didn't quite know what to do with it. It results in a turnover. Childs on the move. Can't hit it.
Who was back again? David Robinson gets a piece of that. That is amazing.
How many big men have run the floor in the history of the league like Robinson and Duncan? I'm not saying they're unique, but it's rare. Malik Rose missed the jump hook. Camby.
There's one who will. Marcus Camby. And again, you know, he's calmed down a little bit. Nice offensive rebound, a nice drive that time. That's a very, very positive sign if you're Jeff Van Gundy. Chris Childs goes to the basket. He says, you know, I got Sean Elliott. I'll pump fake. We'll jump into him. And David Robinson comes over that left hand just enough to get a piece. And Camby, who is bigger and can finish now, much more under control on this possession. David Robinson backs away, and Camby off the glass with a score.
Sean Elliott, straightaway three. Overshot it. Camby snatches the rebound. Knicks still down by only 4 despite all their shooting woes. Larry Johnson to Camby. A running one-hander is good.
Nice play that time again by Camby. So after a quick foul and missing a little layup, starting to deliver good minutes here.
San Antonio now wants to talk it over, leading by only a basket with 7:50 to play in the first half.
This is why they need Marcus Camby to stay out of foul trouble, because he can score. You have to honor him. You have to play him. David Robinson squares him up. The lanky arm of Camby finishes it right over the top of the Admiral. They trail by 2, and they're fighting themselves back into the game. You're watching the NBA on NBC. The Latrell Sprewell checking back into the game. In our open, I said, you're going to have to keep him fresh. You see, he was out of the game about 4 minutes and 10 seconds, but got over 16 minutes rest. Duncan is back. You see, he rested under 3, got over 8 minutes rest. And, you know, Bob, it'll be interesting for me to see as Sprewell comes back in, as he calmed himself down a little bit. He's been playing so frenetically. 2 out of 8 to start this game, 9 out of 24 in game 1, so 11 of his last 32.
Robinson out to Kerr. It's a 2. His foot was on the line. But for San Antonio, it's good to see Steve Kerr hit one. They're still waiting for him to get in a true groove in this postseason.
Well, he's 4 of 22 coming in tonight. Remember, he started out 0 of 12 before he hit some shots against Portland.
Childs can't answer. Sean Elliott back the other way. Kerr again. Can't make it 2 in a row.
Childs did a good job that time getting him back in the hand in his face.
Sprewell's jumper is there.
See, Bob, it always happens. Guys come out and they're so fired.
Elliott alone on Johnson. Robinson comes over to help, but Thomas has a good look at it and misses it.
New York has Larry Johnson as a 3 right now against Elliott, so they'll post him now. He'll have a mismatch there. They'll have to double team him.
Sean Elliott hits the 3.
How many times have we seen it with San Antonio? You try to take away something, and they get timely shooting. Steve Kerr jumper, Elliott open 3.
Spurs by 5. Sprewell to Canby in the lane. Spinning one-hander. Won't go. Sean Elliott drives past Johnson with the underhander that's good.
See, that's why Jeff Van Gundy was afraid to play Larry Johnson against Elliott. He had the matchup on one end, not the quickness to stay with Elliott on the drive. He broke him down and got it to the basket. He's going to end it here and get a little timeout for a little bit of a run.
This is the game's biggest lead, San Antonio by 7, and before it gets out of hand, Van Gundy stops the clock.
It's a good timeout. Double team, Larry Johnson helps, kicks it right back out. Sean Elliott, they're not going to rotate off Jaren Jackson, and Sean Elliott hits the shot. The next time down the floor, Elliott said, I'm going to use my quickness. Larry Johnson with a bad knee. No sympathy in basketball here. You drive by him with a little finger roll in the layup. 5 straight points for Sean Elliott.
And here in San Antonio, as we look at his numbers in the regular season and as the playoffs have progressed, and with the exception of Game 1 in the finals, they've moved up as the season and playoffs have moved along. The most legendary of the Spurs players, George Gervin, would appreciate that last move because, as we know, one thing the Hall of Famer, the Iceman, could do, as he famously proclaimed, was finger roll.
And I had a lot of those. I'd like to go back and see how many of the points he scored against me.
Sprewell explodes to the hoop, but again can't finish. But he gets the call he was looking for. There is a foul on the play.
And the first 2 free throws of the series for Latrell Sprewell, attacking that basket. Looked like Robinson came over and got a nice little piece of it. A nice call there for Sprewell as he will shoot 2 free throws.
And it's Robinson's second. Tomorrow on NBA Inside Stuff, Ahmad Rashad and Summer Sanders are on location in San Antonio, talking naturally about the finals. Inside Stuff from San Antonio tomorrow morning on NBC. I can recollect you going one-on-one with George Gervin. It looked like between the two of you there was no meal money. You both looked like pipe cleaners. Both about 6'6" and 180.
And neither one of us knew what a pass was either.
Avery Johnson. Rebound to Thomas. Childs gets a screen and pops the jumper.
Yeah, I like what New York is doing right now. They're trying as much as possible to have 5 guys on the floor who can score. That way, San Antonio can't help as much on Sprewell and Houston.
Elliott against Camby, who poked it away and then dives to the floor, hustling effort, but it's San Antonio ball.
Allen Houston coming back in now. He got a nice little rest. See the rest? He got 3 minutes actual game time, almost 6 minutes. So that's what you want to do when you're a coach, Bob. You pick and choose when you rest your guys. Hopefully when you take them out, the other guys on the floor can keep what's going on out there, maybe even get a little run.
Chris Childs attempting the steal is instead hit with his first foul.
The shot clock had been down to 8 seconds. With that, they get a new 24, so that's a break for San Antonio.
Robinson back to Elliott. Sean Elliott drives by Johnson, then gives it up to Ellie. And it's Mario Ellie with the floater that's off. Childs pegs it up court to Sprewell. Avery Johnson has him on a mismatch.
If Elliott helps, Childs will have the shot.
Going to the floor to pick it up is Camby, and he signals for a timeout. As Sprewell almost lost it. Sprewell has been plagued by turnovers. He had 6 of New York's 15 in game 1. 4:05 to play in the first half. Spurs by 3.
Hi, everyone. Hannah Storm. Coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report, we'll hear from the Spurs' David Robinson. His 10 years in the NBA have been filled with individual achievement, but also have been mixed with playoff disappointment. Through it all, Robinson accepts the bad with the good.
I enjoy the whole journey. A lot of people don't like to take a lot of the criticism and don't like to go through some of the hard times, but to me, that's a whole part of it. You got to learn to enjoy that stuff too. You got to learn to enjoy some of the hard times because that's a part of life, and that's what makes the good times so much sweeter.
A look at the great impact David Robinson has had both on and off the court. Coming up at halftime. Right now, Robinson's Spurs lead the Knicks by 3 as we rejoin Bob and Doug at courtside.
Hannah, thank you. Along that line, as you look at his stats, another indication of his willingness to defer to the better interests of the team. He's taken only 1 field goal in the first half and made it. Here's Sprewell with a long 2, and he drills it.
See, since he's come off the bench with the rest, he's 2 out of 2 from the floor, 2 out of 2 from the line. He has 6 points. Much better rhythm.
The Knicks back to within 1 after trailing a moment ago by 7. Duncan out of the double to Johnson. And now Sean Elliott. Mario Ellie with a floater that's good.
He has that little runner. We've seen it so many times. I still think you have to make him shoot the jumper. He's not confident with it right now. Allen Houston, 2 poor closeouts to get beat on that baseline.
Sprewell behind Camby's screen. Spins out. Ellie drives by Houston, finds Duncan, who's fouled by Camby. And Camby goes over to help Duncan up, and Duncan waves him off. The two go back to a memorable game in college in December of 1995. Camby's UMass team was ranked #1 in the country and would eventually go to the Final Four. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons, with Tim Duncan, were ranked 9th in the country, and as you see, UMass won the game rather easily, and Camby got the better of it. In the pros, they didn't meet this year. Last year when Camby was with Toronto, they played twice, and the Spurs won the games, and Duncan had the better stats.
That's a critical time right now for New York. You've battled through poor shooting. You've stayed in the game. You're only down 3 right now. And remember the finish of the half the other night. The foul trouble once again tonight, not a factor for New York, but they were able not to finish the other night. 14-2 spurt for the Spurs to close that half out. New York never recovered, Bob. Let's see what happens in this last three minutes of change.
Houston to a wide open Larry Johnson, but he can't put it down. Duncan out of the double to Ellie. The Admiral baseline jumper. San Antonio by 6. Houston gets into the lane and to the hoop.
Oh, what a great drive by Allen Houston. Took the ball inside, showed it. Both big men went for it, and he slithered away from it off the glass. That's a nice play and a momentum stopper if you're New York.
Duncan hits the jump hook. He's in double figures now with 10. Sprewell missed it behind Camby's screen. The rebound to Robinson. Duncan again. Good again.
What a shot. Tim Duncan, footwork, knowing right where he was, on the floor, off the glass.
In the last 90 seconds of the first half of game one, a three-point New York deficit went to 8. Let's see what happens in the last minute and change here. They trail by 8 now. Ball knocked away, but a San Antonio foul. It's Avery Johnson is first.
The thing that amazes me about Tim Duncan is his ability to recognize what's there for him. He doesn't force it. Larry Johnson on his back, the little jump hook. Next time down the floor, good post position. Realizing Marcus Camby not quite the strength, just a subtle little bump there, the jump away from contact. Duncan with 2 critical baskets here in this half.
Penalty not in effect yet. New York ball from the side. Inside a minute. It's Johnson over Rose. Still no luck for Larry Johnson. Loose ball foul on New York.
This is what I talked about the other night. The last 6 possessions of the first half, it was a 2-point game. Look what happened. They had a bad lineup on the floor. Dudley got the shots. Herb Williams got some shots that went from 2 to 8, and they never recovered out of that last little 150 stretch.
When 5 of your last 6 shots in an important stretch of any game were taken by Chris Dudley and by the ancient Herb Williams, that is not the plan.
Well, see, what happened was they were playing 3-on-5 offensively because Sprewell and Houston, the big guys, were just running at them and said, you know what, we'll let those other guys shoot. They did, and you saw what happened. Now, Dudley's coming into the game here for Camby. Why? Because of fouls. He does not want Marcus Camby to get another foul in the last 52 seconds of this half. He's trying to protect him to go into the second half.
Malik Rose missed the first one, still wearing the bandage over the cut beneath his right eye sustained in game 1. Larry Johnson, meanwhile, is 1 of 8 from the floor. He hit a 3 on his first shot. He's missed his last 7.
New York needs a score here badly.
It's Allen Houston, another tough shot, and he gets the roll.
What confidence Allen is playing with. You know, with the shot blocker out there, David Robinson, he was able to take it inside. Malik Rose did not bother his shot.
Duncan over Dudley, hit the side of the backboard. A basket here could pull the Knicks to within 5. Or 4 if they should hit a 3, which wouldn't be so bad at all for them. Sprewell has it knocked away by Avery Johnson, but a foul on Avery. The combined numbers, Larry Johnson and Latrell Sprewell, 5 for 20.
You know what, though? Larry Johnson shooting 8 shots. 3 or 4 of those have been when he's tried to get in the lane and shoot over the Twin Towers. I'd like to see him take 8 shots and have him anywhere from that 15 to 18-foot jump shot range that he can be so very effective at.
Latrell Sprewell, booed here as he is everywhere on the road. But Spurs fans know that Greg Popovich, their coach and general manager, wanted him. Popovich was an assistant coach at Golden State when Sprewell played there. They were seriously discussing a trade that would have brought him here before with P.J. Carlesimo, and they had some interest in him in the offseason when he was free to re-enter the league. Popovich told us yesterday, I'd love to have him. And Sprewell echoed that from his side. He said, I'd love to play for Pop.
And also he told us, too, he said, I love playing for New York also, too. So I think he's a very happy camper in New York right now.
Sunday night on NBC, the world's most amazing videos at 7, 6 Central, followed by a Geraldo Rivera special and the suspense thriller The Client, starring Susan Sarandon, Tommy Lee Jones, and Anthony Edwards. That's Sunday night on NBC. There was a report in Sports Illustrated, and then it was reprinted in the New York newspapers, that Sprewell had told people close to him that he didn't want to play for Van Gundy anymore, preferred a trade, and that Atlanta was his preferred destination. We asked him about it yesterday, and he said, no, I want to stay in New York, and he denied making the statement in the first place. Less than 5 seconds to get off the half's final shot. Jaren Jackson with a bomb. Knicks trailed by 8 at halftime of Game 1, down 5 after 24 minutes of Game 2. Stay tuned for the Prudential Halftime Report. Anna Storm will be joined by Isaiah Thomas, Peter Vesey, and Bill Walton on the Showtime set. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
This is the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential. Prudential, a leader in insurance, investments, real estate, and financial services. See why Prudential is today's rock-solid choice for your financial needs.
It's halftime of Game 2 of the NBA Finals, with the Spurs leading the Knicks 39-34. The Knicks are shooting under 30% despite a lot of good looks at the basket. Latrell Sprewell and Tim Duncan each have 12 points. Hi, everybody. Hannah Storm along with Isaiah Thomas, Peter Vesey, and Bill Walton will check in with their thoughts on the first half in just a few moments. First, the Spurs' David Robinson. He's the only player in NBA history to lead the league in scoring, rebounding, and blocked shots, as well as being named MVP, Rookie of the Year, and Defensive Player of the Year. In other words, he's done just about everything on a basketball court, except win an NBA title. Robinson reflects on a glorious career.
The San Antonio Spurs select David Robinson from Navy.
The Naval Academy and the Navy in general have been very good to me. They're the ones who really gave me the opportunity to do a lot of the things that I did, and I wanted to fulfill whatever commitment they wanted me to fulfill. So I figured I'd be 7 feet tall my whole life, so hopefully the opportunity to play the NBA would still be there.
If you're an NBA team and you want to draw up a center, a prototype center, you use David Robinson as the blueprint.
My options were wide open, and I think when I came down here, my mind was definitely not set on coming here because I didn't want to come to a bad team. I wanted to have an opportunity to win.
For the most wins in the history of this great franchise, your Midwest Division crown, and the greatest turnaround in the history of the NBA.
Coming to this franchise when they were, 21-61, and the city embraced me right away, and it was really kind of overwhelming. I didn't feel like anybody's savior, that's for sure.
But Robinson has been a savior in more ways than one. Promising to pay for the continuing education of a group of 5th graders he met at a San Antonio elementary school several years ago. A promise he was happy to keep upon their graduation.
I felt like when they were graduating, I was watching them go up on the stage as like my kids, I was getting up, hey, Jermaine, hey, Homer, all right, it's my boy up there,
We all know, without a doubt, that Dave's really been an important piece in our life, and he was bigger than basketball. He was a man that we'll know as a supporter, first of all, as, a role model and a friend.
That was one of the greatest joys for me. That's where you know that giving, you get as much out of giving as sometimes the people who receive it do.
David Robinson represents for us the commitment to team, to principle, and to community that we in the NBA find emblematic of what our players strive to be.
A lot of people get that nice guy thing confused. It's nice when you can get along, but who cares if you're getting along and you're losing games? That doesn't matter. No one likes, obviously, to be criticized or questioned with their desire. You don't get to this level if you don't have an incredible desire.
I remember, we lose to Utah. We get knocked out of the playoffs. And I'm sitting next to David, and you look in his face, you felt bad for him because in his eyes, he felt that he let not only himself down, but everyone down. I'm sure at that point, David Robinson was thinking, I might never get a chance.
Spurs trainers in a conversation with David Robinson at the end of the Spurs bench. He doesn't want to sit down.
That year was so hard. I had to sit around and watch our team just struggle. I mean, it was awful. It was awful. You know, all the teams that we had been killing over the years came in and they're laughing and dancing and beating us. But when we got Tim Duncan, that was a reward for a very tough year.
He's going to be a welcome asset to the San Antonio Spurs.
But Tim Duncan is a great player, but people don't expect Tim Duncan to lead this team to the promised land right now. I mean, maybe in a couple of years they will. That's a great responsibility of being me, and I've embraced that my whole career, good and bad.
Give it to David, grabbed by Ellis, double teamed by Woods, takes the jumper, yes! 71 for David Robinson.
All those years, you put up all those numbers that are just ridiculous. And, you know, for me, I didn't even realize how ridiculous they are until this year. You know, looking at my numbers this year, and I'm saying, wow, look how much lower they are. You know, I mean, it's not even close. I mean, you know, but it just goes to show you, you know, how much you need one another in this league, how much you need a team. And actually, I've had more fun, to be honest with you.
They are Western Conference champions for the first time in Spurs history.
A lot of people don't like to take a lot of the criticism and don't like to go through some of the hard times, but to me, that's a whole part of it. You got to learn to enjoy that stuff too. You got to learn to enjoy some of the hard times because that's a part of life, and that's what makes the good times so much sweeter.
David Robinson's willingness to embrace a reduced offensive role on the Spurs, his leadership, his defensive play, some of the big keys to his team's success this season. He has 4 blocks in the first half of this game. And when we return, we'll check in on the 99th U.S. Open at Pinehurst, where some of golf's biggest names sit atop the leaderboard. First, a message from Prudential and a word from the NBA. At halftime of Game 2, the Spurs lead the Knicks 39-34. Bill Walton telling us before the game that the Knicks should not continue to just go at the Spurs Twin Towers. That's exactly what they did in the first half, Bill.
And when will they ever learn? All the pretty boys out here, they want to go in there and throw one down on the big guys. That is not going to happen here. Allen Houston, ill-advised shooting. Latrell Sprewell trying to get to the hoop. Nothing's working there. And then when Larry Johnson double pump, David Robinson sends it all right back. Ironically, it's when they pulled up and tried to hit those 15-foot shots. That's the one that's going down for them. Isaiah, in a thinking man's game, the New York Knicks, they have brain lock.
Bill, what that says to me, what you just said, is that the New York Knicks have to create some more mismatches. Allen Houston right now is 5 for 10, but the rest of the Knicks players are shooting less than 25%. What Jeff Van Gundy must do is go to the big lineup. He's got to go with Sprewell and Houston in the backcourt to create some mismatches so Sprewell and Houston both can get off. Right now, they just can't live with one of them playing well.
Isaiah, even great scorers or even great shooters have lost their confidence. They lose it quarter to quarter at this level. And Sprewell is not known as a great shooter. He was 9 for 24 in Game 1. He's 4 for 12 now. What he needs is easy baskets. The Knicks only have 2 points off 6 offensive rebounds and only 2 points off fast breaks. They've got to get opportunity baskets here.
At one point, the New York Knicks missing 18 of 19 shots. Meanwhile, the 99th U.S. Open Golf Championship is at the halfway mark. With a review of today's second round action, here's Dick Enberg from Pinehurst.
Hannah here at Pinehurst, number 2 tonight. It's the piece following the panic to make the cut for the 99th U.S. Open Championship. Winds were up today, so were the scores. 2.5 strokes higher than yesterday. But 2 of the game's top young stars, David Duval and Phil Mickelson, in the same group today survived. Duval, while his play was sporadic at times, made some big shots when he needed them most, en route to an even par 70. Duval, underlining why he's number 1 in the world. Mickelson's magic on the green matched Duval, both at 3 under, tied for the lead. And sharing the lead, 1991 U.S. Open champion Payne Stewart. He joins them at -3. And lurking red-hot Tiger Woods, just 2 shots from the leaders. After 36 holes, only 7 men breaking par. Final 2 pairings tomorrow. Duvall and Stewart, Mickelson and Woods. Our 6.5 hours of live coverage beginning at 12:30. Dick Enberg at Pinehurst. Now back to Hannah Storm.
Wow, those pairings sound as good as Duncan and Robinson. Thanks, Dick. Looking forward to it. Meanwhile, the Spurs lead the Knicks by 5. We'll send you back to Bob and Doug for the second half after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential. Prudential, a leader in insurance, investments, real estate, and financial services. See why Prudential is today's rock-solid choice for your financial needs.
Ahmad Rashad back at the Alamo Dome where the Spurs lead it by 5. I'm here with Greg Popovich. And, Coach, no offensive rebounds in the first half. Now, is that because you're concerned with the Knicks' fast break points?
No, we haven't been a good offensive rebounding team all year, and we've been even worse the last 2 games. It's just not a strength for us, but it's not by design.
Any adjustments at halftime?
Well, if we don't get any offensive rebounds, we got to at least try to keep them off. They've got 6, and that's what they did the first game, and it kept them in pretty good, so we got to do a better job there.
All right, good luck to you in the second half. All right, let's go over to Jim Gray.
With Jeff Van Gundy outside the locker room as we get ready for the second half, a lot of missed layups, a stretch of 1 for 19. Do you still feel fortunate to be in this game?
No, we've worked hard defensively. We've just been inefficient offensively. We've missed some good opportunities. Their defense is very good. We're going to have to convert at a higher rate.
Hang around theory, is that what's happening here?
And we're trying.
All right, Jeff, good luck in the second half. Back out to you, Bob.
All right, Jim, we won't hang around long because we've got to step aside for a commercial. Back with the start of the second half from San Antonio after this. As we take a look at the leaders in various categories, the line for David Robinson just speaks volumes. 7 points, 4 block shots, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. In addition to the 4 blocks, Doug, he bothered several other shots.
Well, I think the thing that really jumps out at me is New York shot under 30%, Bob, but with 6 offensive rebounds, only 4 turnovers, they got 13 more shots at the basket. That kept them in the game.
New York opens the second half with Ward, Houston, Johnson, Dudley, and Sprewell, who gets the half's first shot and misses it. Rebound taken by Avery Johnson. Out there with Robinson, Duncan, Elliott, and Mario Elliott. And a quick whistle on the first possession of the half for San Antonio. Chris Dudley picking up his second foul.
Bob, also to New York, a real focus going into this game we talked about in our open was Jaren Jackson. Remember, he had 5 threes in game 1. Tonight, no points.
Duncan knocked away, taken by Charlie Ward. Duncan hits the deck. Houston comes back up and under, but it spills off the lip of the rim. Here's Avery Johnson, a pull-up J, and he drains it.
There's a little 4-point swing right there. You're trying to make a run. Allen Houston misses a tough layup. Avery follows it with a 2. So 4-point swing. Instead of a 3-point game, you got a 7-point game.
Houston fouled by Ellie before the shot.
We saw so many of these in the first half for New York. It looks like they get right to the rim, and they just can't finish. This time it's Sean Elliott chasing him off the shot, and then David Robinson with a quick outlet. Avery Johnson with the little pull-up jump shot. He's now 2 of 5 from the floor, and he has 4 points. That's a big jump shot.
Here's Houston into traffic, lays it off for Dudley. Sprewell for 3. The rebound to Robinson. Perfect example of playing 4-on-5. Dudley, a wide-open shot that he had no more intention of taking than jumping off the roof of the Alamo Dome.
You see, that's a great call. Robinson could help knowing he wasn't going to shoot it.
Duncan had it knocked away. Another turnover for San Antonio. Sprewell. Houston. The Knicks move to within 5.
New York is much more aggressive tonight, Bob, going back after Duncan. They're not making an all-out double team, but they're getting back there and digging. They forced 2 straight turnovers.
Robinson. Up top to Elliott. Now he has it back. His jumper is no good. The rebound to Dudley. Sprewell, 6 seconds to shoot. Sprewell runs into Robinson, and it's a blocking foul on the Admiral. That's his third.
New York is not making a double team. They're digging back. See, they're going off Avery Johnson. Charlie Ward dig back, and it leads to the fast break. Mr. Energy, Latrell Sprewell gets in the air and bailed out. He finds sweet shooting Allen Houston, who buries the jump shot. So Ward is the active guy right now. He's going off Avery Johnson.
Houston is the game's high man with 13 points. Can't make it 15. And Robinson clears it. Ellie lobs to Duncan. He finds Robinson cutting through the lane. The basket counts, plus the foul. Danny Crawford with the dramatic delayed call.
The little adjustments that you make. If Avery Johnson throws the ball in the post, Ward helps. I said, you know what, we'll let Ellie do it. They won't help off of him. And then the double team has to come from another spot. Robinson goes right to the basket for the three-point play opportunity. So that's the subtle adjustments you make, Bob. You see those guys leaving Avery Johnson. You go to the other side, let somebody else throw the ball into the post.
Lucky bounce on the free throw for Robinson, completing the three-point play. Sprewell behind Dudley's screen. Kicked it away. Diving to the floor for it is Ward along with Elliott. But it's Elliott who wins the loose ball battle. Duncan backs in. Around the perimeter, Sean Elliott. Avery Johnson. Head fake, now slithers through and lays it in. Well, somebody's going to be wrong after this series is over as New York asks for a 20. Damon Stoudemire of the Trailblazers said about a year ago, no team with Avery Johnson as its point guard will win an NBA title. Stephon Marbury, on his way from Minnesota to the Nets, said no team quarterbacked by Charlie Ward and Chris Childs will ever win an NBA title. Somebody's going to be wrong after this series.
Well, the critical turnover there by Sprewell as they're battling to try to get back into the game. You see the great hustle by both players. Sean Elliott digs it out, and it leads to Avery Johnson. Now, you've got to make him shoot jump shots. If you lose your focus and run at him, he can lay the ball in the basket, and that's what happened with New York right there. You've got to recognize personnel, who you're guarding, and Avery Johnson, you must make him shoot the ball, not lay it in the basket.
Damon Stoudemire went out of his way to congratulate Avery Johnson after the Spurs swept the Trailblazers in the conference finals and noted, I have much more respect for him now.
Well, Avery's one of the true leaders on this team. He and David Robinson. Duncan is the best player. There's no question. They're the two leaders.
Camby in for Dudley now for New York. They trail by 10. Sprewell cuts it to 8.
Do you know how good that was?
That was pretty good. Pretty
David
good.
Robinson, you got a 360 spin going back to your weak hand. This man's got no fear.
To Elliott. Now Avery Johnson. Ward gets up on him. Camby has him on a switch. That leaves Robinson inside with the mismatch. Duncan follows.
Their first offensive rebound is going to be a three-point play. This is what Ahmad talked to Greg Popovich about. They've got to get some second shots. David Robinson's got 3 fouls. They would love to get his 4th. He flops back trying to get a foul. It doesn't go, and Allen Houston allows Duncan to get inside on the offensive boards. Their first offensive rebound, a three-point play opportunity. Give him a chance to have their largest lead of the game if he knocks this in, and he does, and it's an 11-point lead right now, Bob. See, when you're playing uphill, you got to stay away from the turnovers. You got to stay away from giving teams easy baskets.
15 now for Duncan. Ward for 3, and the Knicks needed that.
Not the guy you would think would come down 11 and shoot the 3, but that was a very confident shot.
Here's Duncan. Back Backing in on Johnson. Sprewell there with the help. Camby reaches in, and a jump ball is called as he tries to wrest it away from Duncan.
New York trying to stay close in this game. The whirling dervish move here by Latrell Sprewell. Here comes David Robinson. A little too late. The little teardrop shot over the outstretched arm, and then Charlie Ward sizes his man up, shoots the three. They trail by 8, and they're trying to hang around, Bob.
Timeout, Spurs.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Gatorade Thirst Quencher, helping you play longer and stronger when it counts the most. Gatorade, is it in you? By Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile dealers. By Warner Brothers' new motion picture Wild Wild West at theaters everywhere starting Wednesday, June 30th. And by Adidas. Long live sport.
These NBA Finals are being seen and heard in 195 countries around the globe, being broadcast in 38 different languages. There's your alphabetical rundown. Crowd tonight at the Alamo Dome, 39,554, slightly more than the Game 1 opener. And in fact, all Game 1s are openers, now that I think of it. The jump ball after the timeout, won by New York.
Camby got up a little quicker that time than Duncan.
Ward confronted by Duncan. Somebody's got to be open. It's Johnson, but Duncan gets back to him quickly. Houston guns a three. And it's a big one. His foot actually was on the line. I take it back. A two-point shot with his foot barely on the line. So it's a 6-point deficit for New York at 49-43. And now a San Antonio turnover as Johnson walked a tightrope to save it. Sprewell comes racing back, goes to the left hand. Elliott fouls him. Sean thought he blocked it cleanly.
When New York gets that ball out in the open court to Latrell Sprewell, this guy, I think, is faster with the basketball than he is without. It's like that ball gets in his hand, and he is a blur going to the basket. He lives to get into that open court. And we're starting to see him get to the free throw line, Bob. Remember, 9 of 24 in the first game. Only there's 0 free throws tonight. You see, this will be his 5th and 6th free throws of the night. That's critical. Sean Elliott's an underrated defender, and they made Latrell work so hard that he really got himself worn out, even with all his energy in the fourth period. But 9 of 24, 19 points, but no free throws. That's not good efficiency shooting the basketball.
Latrell Sprewell played in just 3 playoff games with the Warriors, the first 6 years rather, of his career. This year, on a magical playoff run with the Knicks. Ellie, an air ball on that set shot. It could have been a 3.
You can see also, too, Camby in the game much sooner in this third quarter than in the first.
Ward slithers through, and Duncan says, get that mess out of here. Sprewell has it. 5 seconds to shoot. Johnson, a long 3. And with a hand in his face from Duncan at that.
See, he doesn't have the quickness to go around Duncan with that sore leg, so they can really close out on him and chase him off that 3.
LJ now 1 of 9 in the game. He hit his first shot, missed his last 8. Duncan off the glass.
See, I just love his patience. He doesn't get flustered. They're banging him, goes inside, back outside. Right back into him again. That's good offense. Bob, I don't know if he can dribble the ball with his left hand.
He can shoot it with his right, though. Ellie takes the rebound. Shyness would not be a problem for Latrell Sprewell. Timidity is not one of his drawbacks. Here's Sean Elliott. And Johnson claims it.
New York is doing a good job on their closeouts defensively.
Camby from Sprewell. it's still the Spurs by 6.
See, Camby's got to go in there strong. Throw himself into Robinson. Maybe get his 4th foul. You don't want to try to quick shoot him.
Camby left alone with Robinson. Ward came over but fouled him.
Tim Duncan looks like he's beat on the play. He doesn't give up. That long arm of the law there with Tim Duncan blocks the shot, and then he comes back. You see why I think he's the most complete player in the game. The patience, the little shot off the glass, really a throwback using that backboard. You don't see a lot of guys do that today, but he has really mastered it, especially when he steps out on the floor.
David Robinson, a member of 3 Olympic teams, an 8-time All-Star, a scoring champion, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and now taking a back seat, at least in terms of being the first scoring option, to Tim Duncan. That could be, when it's all over, the single biggest story of this NBA season, how this all-time great player got a championship by taking a step away from the spotlight.
Well, I tell you, when you spend any time around him, you can't help but admire him and what he's all about.
San Antonio leads by 7 as we move inside 4 minutes. Houston with a nice pass to Camby and an even nicer finish.
You see the quickness off the floor by Camby? Duncan couldn't even get over there soon enough. That ball was in the basket before he could get off his feet.
Here's Robinson with the turnaround, but Camby has the block. 2 seconds to shoot. Does Duncan know it? 24-second violation.
David Robinson's getting a little tired. I think he might look at Popovich here, maybe get himself a little bit of a rest. 3:21 to go in the quarter. See if maybe Pop gives him a little rest. Camby that time with a nice shot block. When I watched him the last couple possessions getting up and down the floor, he's tugging on his shorts right now. And many instances, that's the first sign as a coach that you look at that he's starting to get a little tired.
New York has cut its turnovers down from game 1 when they gave it up 15 times. Only 5 so far tonight. San Antonio guilty of 12 turnovers. Houston. The rebound to Duncan.
They got to be aware of Kerr now. If they double team, they got 3 good three-point shooters on the floor.
Sean Elliott had it stripped away. The 13th San Antonio turnover. And New York asks for time. They're very much in the game. 2:46 to play in the third. Trailing by only 5. With a front line decimated by injuries, Jeff Van Gundy has turned to one man off his bench to carry the load. And after a rough start in New York this season, Marcus Camby has picked the perfect moment to step up his game.
I think the way that I'm playing now is probably, best suited for me. I don't know about increased minutes because I think I never played 40 minutes the whole season this year. So, all I try to do is go in there and provide a spark, provide a lot of energy, play with a lot of emotion, get my teammates pumped up, to get our crowd pumped up.
Marcus has been, when I say easy to coach, it's been easy to coach. People want to make it out like we have a strained relationship. He may not have always agreed with the decisions I made about playing time, but I made him for one reason, which is what I thought was best for our team. I would play the devil himself to win.
Well, you see Marcus Camby's numbers tonight, 18 minutes, his points, his rebounds, but he's the only guy they have on their front line that can elevate and play above the basket with Robinson and Duncan. He is going to have to play it out here the rest of the game if they're going to win.
Houston with the catch and shoot, and New York moves to within 3.
Bob, they're shooting 31% on the game, and they're down 3. Why? Because they're playing great defense. They only have 5 turnovers, and they're being much more aggressive in the post tonight.
Houston ties Duncan for game-high honors with 17.
See, Jeff is going to have to really think about when is he going to give Allen Houston a little bit of a rest and Sprewell. I don't think they can play the rest of the game, so he's going to have to be very judicious how he rests these 2 guys.
Steve Kerr out to Jaren Jackson. His 3 spins out. Win or The Spurs will again play one of their poorer games of the playoffs in a game 2. Steve Kerr got a hand on it, comes right back to Ward. He takes it inside, and the Knicks will keep it as it's knocked out. So far, the Spurs have only 3 points off their bench, as Jaren Jackson has not done anything like what he did in the opener. They forced only 5 New York turnovers, and they have only 2 offensive rebounds.
Well, New York is forcing them to play one of their poor games right now. Their game plan is terrific, and they are right in this game.
Shot clock's going to run out.
I think they might have thought they got a reset on that. That's what your point guard has to be telling the guys on the floor, how much time you have on that shot clock. See, Malik Rose did a smart thing that time. He saw that Sprewell had the ball. The clock was winding down. He ran at him, trapped him, forced him to give it up, and then Larry Johnson couldn't get the shot off.
Scoring game. San Antonio with just a 3-point lead. Duncan, Elliott for 3, can't double the advantage, and Thomas has the rebound. Quick pass inside to Camby, a nearly impossible shot against 2 defenders, but Ward keeps it alive. Sprewell slithers through and misses the running one-hander. Trying to contend with Duncan. Sprewell over to help. Now he's back on Sean Elliott. On the run, he banks it too hard. Thomas with another rebound. He had 16 of them in game 1. He has 7 in this game.
Well, New York's getting a lot of chances. Their post defense, they're forcing Duncan to give the ball up. No one else can score. They have got to take advantage of this little stretch right now with Robinson on the bench.
Houston on the move. It bounces into Kerr's hands as the bank was closed for Allen Houston. Last half minute of the 3rd. Duncan. Ward over with help. Jump ball call.
The Knicks defense is terrific. They are swarming Duncan. They're forcing him to put it on the floor. They're running in from behind him. This is twice now they forced the jump ball. And it's Charlie Ward. Look how aggressive. He comes in. They force the jump ball. This tip, they have a chance to cut this lead to 1 or tie the game with a 3-pointer.
But Duncan wins the tip to Jaren Jackson. Shot clock and game clock virtually identical. Kerr just holding it. Sean Elliott. A terrific baseline move. And man, does that hurt if you're looking at this from New York's perspective, as it could be a 3-point play.
See, I'm sure if you're Jeff Van Gundy, you say, let's make Sean Elliott make a jump shot. Let's not let him drive that thing to the basket. He's missed his last 3 shots. Kerr throws it in the corner, and the poor closeout by Sprewell gives up the baseline. Then the touch foul, the great finish by Sean Elliott. This could double the lead here, Bob, as you talked about here in the last 3 seconds of this quarter. That could be a huge play for the Spurs going into the 4th.
This is even worse for New York. Duncan with the rebound. It's a 4-point trip down the floor. Less than a second.
Two critical mistakes that time by New York. They give up a layup, they foul, they do not block off the boards. Duncan with his second offensive rebound and a score. Critical plays there as New York is fighting uphill to try to get back in this game.
In the blink of an eye, a 3-point lead becomes a 7-point advantage heading for the 4th quarter.
See, Marcus Camby didn't block him out. Duncan just stepped right in front of him. Critical mistake.
Back after these words from your local station.
This copyrighted telecast of the National Basketball Association is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any retransmission, reproduction, rebroadcast, or other dissemination or use of this telecast, or of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game, without the express written consent of the National Basketball Association, is prohibited.
Texas governor and GOP presidential frontrunner George W. Bush at the game. He can be a Spurs fan tonight and explain to any of his constituents in Houston or Dallas, hey, the Rockets and Mavericks didn't make it this far. Whether this costs him votes when it goes national in New York is another question.
See, Bob, what also happens, the Spurs get 4 quick points, and they get the first possession here. So it's a 3-point game. If they score, it goes to 9.
Into Duncan, guarded by Thomas. Turnaround jumper. Off the front of the rim, out of bounds to New York.
See, New York is giving themselves every chance to stay around and win this game. They have got to find a way to manufacture some points. They've got to put the ball in the basket. The Spurs defense has been stifling.
Johnson hands it to Ward. An almost impossible shot. A predictable result. And a loose ball foul against New York.
That's twice now we've seen Childs go to the basket and pump fake to get a guy in the air and almost try to draw the foul rather than try to make the shot. And Bob, you look at the shooting. Allen Houston, the only guy here really shooting any kind of percentage at all. I mean, Johnson and Childs are combined 2 for 14.
Here's Mario Ellie. Childs all over Kerr. Duncan into the corner for Jackson. Jumping out to get a hand on it was Camby. And it's taken by Larry Johnson.
Boy, Jaren Jackson is a marked man tonight. They are not giving him one clean look at the basket.
Houston with a tough fadeaway.
Allen Houston, take your time. You realize you got a mismatch. You go over the top of Steve Kerr, and we got a 5-point game, Bob, we talked about in the open. Can the Knicks hang around? Can they do it with their defense? And can they steal it late? They're right there with under 10 and a half minutes to go.
19 now for Allen Houston. Duncan trying to follow his own shot, and a whistle. Duncan will come to the free throw line.
Allen Houston, just take your time, get to where you want to get on the floor, get your rhythm, elevate, and shoot the jump shot. A sweet shooting jumper by Allen Houston that brought his team back to 5. And we talked about no offensive rebounds for San Antonio at halftime. Well, I know Tim Duncan has 4 already in this second half, which has been critical. He's given his team a chance to get some baskets to try to fight off New York.
The foul, meanwhile, was on Kurt Thomas, and that was his 4th. If you want to find something to criticize about Tim Duncan, he is not a particularly good free throw shooter, although he hits that one.
Well, he was terrific against the Lakers. Remember, he shot the ball very well and then did not shoot the ball well at all against Portland. You see game 1, 70%. He was 7 of 10, but it's going to be critical because they're not going to give many layups. And you know what? It'll be interesting to see whether Popovich rests him. David Robinson getting a good rest right now. Duncan Young, can he play the whole 4th quarter? Is he going to need a blow?
In the regular season, he was under 70% from the line, but he made them both here. Here's Childs. Kurt Thomas. They need more of that. Their big guys able to step out and hit the jumper.
That's that little medium-range jump shot that you just have to make when you play San Antonio. That's the one they say we're going to give you. You're going to have to make it to beat us.
That was Kurt Thomas's first bucket. He scored 13 points in game 1. Avery Johnson finds Mario Ellie. His set shot from the head of the key is good.
That dribble penetration just enough for Mario Ellie's man to help out. Gets his feet together in that little shoulder set shot.
Childs lost it. Taken by Malik Rose. Here comes Mario Ellie steaming to the hoop. And there's a foul whistled by Joey Crawford. Larry Johnson raises his hand in disgust.
When you're playing from behind, you've got to play good basketball. basketball, solid basketball. The help there from Larry Johnson. Mario Elie steps in. The next possession down, a turnover. Elie drives it hard to the basket, gets the foul, trying to push this lead back up to 9.
And it's the third foul on Larry Johnson.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Original Coors. There's only 1 mile-high taste. Coors, the original. By the new full-size Toyota Tundra. Have we gone too far, or have others not gone far enough? And by Pepsi, the joy of cola.
The guy tonight, 21 points, and he's come up with critical baskets just when they need him most. No offensive rebounds for the Spurs in the first half. He gets the first one of the game in a three-point play. First team all-league defense. It looks like he's got a layup. You take that out of there. Out of the double team, you go back in with great patience and use the backboard. And at the end of the third quarter, sneaks in and a big basket to give them a 7-point lead going into the fourth. In my mind, this is why he is the best player in the game today. Bob, you see all of his damage done foul line and under.
If you're looking for a reason why, comparatively, the Spurs have struggled in the second game of all 4 playoff series, Jaren Jackson has been held scoreless tonight in Game 2. In 4 Game 2s in the playoffs, he has 1 total point. In Games 1, 3, and 4, and the Spurs haven't had a series go any longer than 4 games, he's averaging easily into double figures.
Well, Bob, look at the team now New York's got on the floor. These guys have combined 3 for 20. Do they have enough offense to come back?
Down by 8 with 9 on the clock. That won't help. Stolen by Rose.
So you run them into a shot blocker, you leave your feet, and a turnover. Those are deadly.
Duncan gets it back from Jackson. Now it's Avery Johnson. Short with the 20-footer. Loose ball battle, and it looks like the foul is going to be on Malik Rose, who will definitely stick his nose in there for you. Tonight, when the game is over, it's your late local news, and then the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, Robert Wagner on the program, and Mike Myers is on Conan O'Brien tonight. Larry Johnson backing in against Rose. Turning and hitting, plus the foul. Larry Johnson just glad to see someone leaning over his shoulder who isn't 7'1".
I think you got to get David Robinson back in the game right now. They need another shot blocker, and here he comes. He's got a big rest. Malik Rose did a nice hustle job, but Larry Johnson can post him up. He knows it, so now David Robinson comes in with that second shot blocker. Sprewell for Houston. Allen Houston, if I'm the coach, I'm saying, Allen, you got maybe 30 seconds to a minute at the most, and then I got to get you back in the game.
Johnson can't complete the three-point play. The bucket a minute ago was just his second of the game. He hit a three-pointer in the game's first minute, missed 8 in a row, and finally hit a basket just then. Here's Duncan. He was fouled.
You don't want to reach on him because Camby was coming in there to block that shot. The reach in is what got Kurt Thomas the foul. Camby was going to come back in there from behind, so that's 5 now on Kurt Thomas. But I think he's got to stay on the floor because with Allen Houston down, if you start bringing in somebody that can't score, you're going to be playing 3-on-5 again. That's what got them in trouble in Game 1. So, Allen, you better get your breath quickly and get back out there.
Game 1, we showed you that contingent that chartered in from the Virgin Islands, some 160 supporters of Tim Duncan. They told us his nickname on the island is Fish and Fungi. Fish and fungi being a popular dish there. Fungi, kind of a cornmeal confection. Sprewell with the spin move, goes for the slam, but Robinson is in his face, and now Robinson pleads his case as he's hit with the foul.
No flippers when you go in here. You go in, and you go in with reckless abandon. Sprewell attacks the basket. He's going to windmill dunk this. Here comes David Robinson. That's twice now that I think Sprewell's got the benefit of some calls with Robinson going up, looking like he got a piece of the basketball. But you know what, Bob? When you're aggressive, you'll get those calls. give me the verdict here. What do you think here? Does it look like Robinson gets this one? Oh, he got him in the
Sprewell
face.
for sure.
He got the ball, but then he got him in the face. So that replay shows right there that Sprewell deserves 2 free throws. He got hammered in the face pretty good.
Good call. And he converts them both. Game 1, no free throw attempts for Sprewell. Tonight, Spree is 8 for 8. Johnson finds Ellie unattended, but he still can't hit it. Duncan out to Jackson, though.
Guess who with the offensive board, and guess what it leads to? Guess who passes the ball?
One of the Twin Towers to the other. A terrific look by Duncan, and the dunk for Robinson.
And see, Robinson needed that rest, Bob. He was really getting tired out there. That was a fresh play there. You could see he had some bounce.
Sprewell. Johnson, straight on 3. Badly overshot.
That wasn't close. Is that Larry Johnson 1 of 10 now? I guess he made a field goal, so 2 of 11 for Larry Johnson now.
Avery Johnson to Robinson. He drains it.
Fresh legs. You get a chance to rest David Robinson. He's come back strong.
One of the 50 greatest players of all time could be on his way to a championship. Another in street clothes may be denied yet again.
Tim Duncan, look at the inside position here. Actually, Thomas gets back, just a bigger, stronger player, kicks it out. You throw it back in the post, you get the double team. David Robinson sees it and says, you know what, I'm going right to the basket. The little pass and the finish by David Robinson. And then the next time down the floor, his favorite spot on the floor, the little screen roll, he fades out to the little 15-footer, knocks it in. The Spurs lead by 10. David Robinson is happy. And you're watching the NBA on NBC.
Star-studded leaderboard at the U.S. Open.
Well, we know Johnny Miller's a big Jazz fan, but he said today, you know, I don't know if they have any answers for the Twin Towers, Robinson and Duncan. And you know what? He's right. They've done it once again tonight after a huge game 1 of 46 points, 25 rebounds, 9 assists, and 5. Bob, they followed up with 38, 25, 8 blocks, 7 assists, and their defense has just stifled New York at the basket.
Chris Childs to Allen Houston, knocked away by Mario Ellie. And Houston is hit with a traveling call. Look at the combined numbers for the Twin Towers.
It's incredible, and you know, more importantly, they anchored the league's best defense. New York has played a terrific game. They just can't score. They had 77 in game 1, shooting 38%. Tonight, Bob, they have 57 points. It's not from lack of effort. It's not because they haven't gotten some good shots. San Antonio can't get anything easy. They cannot, New York gets no layups.
Sprewell a moment ago cut in front for the steal, but he was standing out of bounds. Sean Elliott. And the rebound is snatched by Sprewell.
Still plenty of time, but New York has got to be flawless here, Bob, in this last 6 minutes of the game. They can't turn the ball over. They got to get good shots, and they got to play great defense.
Johnson spinning on Elliott. Coming over is Robinson. Ball out of bounds, touched last by the Spurs, 3 on the 24.
See, Larry Johnson just doesn't trust that outside shot. He thinks he's getting closer to the basket, but all he's doing is getting himself in trouble down there.
Exactly 6 minutes on the clock. Got to shoot it quick. 24-second violation. One pass too many. Camby should have gone right up with him.
Absolutely. And what happens now, you're Jeff Van Gundy, you take a timeout at 67-57. You get Allen Houston back into the game. You come back with 2 turnovers. Really a shot clock violation and Allen Houston walk. That will not get it done.
Robinson. Little hop into the lane. A whistle blows. And a New York foul.
I tell you, New York desperately misses Patrick Ewing in a series like this, Bob. A big body, a guy that you can put in the game, that can make some shots. And you look at him right now, you think that he doesn't want to be out on that floor. How hard he's worked his entire career to miss this moment.
The foul was on Camby. It's his 4th. In most of the country, after the game, late local news, then the Tonight Show. But If you want more basketball, turn over to CNBC on cable. Complete post-game report, including the repartee of Snapper Jones and Bill Walton. Spurs by 11.
That matches their largest lead of the game, Bob.
Houston off with the three, but Camby's on the offensive glass. Houston driving, trying to find Camby and a pack of white shirts. Ball knocked away. The officials confer, and Crawford overrules Crawford. Joey says, no, Danny, let's stay right here.
You know how much confidence you have if you're a perimeter defender for San Antonio, and you know you can get up and play a guy tough, and if he beats you, he's running into Duncan or Robinson inside. That's just what happened on that play with Allen Houston.
Elite bumping him. Houston takes him to the baseline. Whistle before the shot. Mario Ellie, the guilty party. It's his second.
But this is what happens. They force Allen Houston and Sprewell to work so hard. It comes fourth quarter time, it's very difficult for them to be able to finish their shots.
Time slipping away on the Knicks. Exactly 5 minutes remaining. Sprewell gives it up to Camby, who lays it in, but he charged. They'll wave it off.
Boy, that's a tough play right there. It looks like Camby makes a nice move at the basket, and who comes over? Tim Duncan. Camby explodes to the basket, a nice little pass. He comes over, sets himself. That's a good call. He was there, and he was outside the box.
And that is Camby's fifth. Sean Elliott around the perimeter to Mario Ellie, whose shooting has been ice cold. Avery Johnson, 2 seconds to shoot. Slap back in his face by Camby. Sprewell takes off to the other end. Sprewell tried to leave it behind him for a trailer. Johnson is there to pick it up. Around the perimeter for Childs. Off with the three, but Johnson clears it. Here's Sprewell. Doesn't get the roll, and Robinson finally claims it for San Antonio. 4 minutes remaining.
And New York has 57 points. I mean, defensively, they've played well enough to win. The Spurs only have 68.
Duncan with 4 on the shot clock. From a bit outside his range, he misses. Well, this year, the average NBA team scored 91 points a game, the lowest since the advent of the shot clock in 1955. And this game will come up short of that for both teams. Not all of it is good defense. Somebody's got to make a jumper. While the Knicks were trying to turn the series around as Game 2 began, the Spurs were primed to turn out the lights on their chances. The early momentum belonged to San Antonio. Hard-driving basketball that has them eyeing their 12th consecutive win. The Knicks' effort was there, but the breaks for them were not. They stayed close most of the game. But now, with 3:36 remaining, they trail by 11, and if San Antonio holds on for the win here, they'll establish a playoff record with 12 consecutive postseason wins. Chris Childs to Larry Johnson. Now he has it back. 4 seconds on the shot clock. 2 seconds to shoot. Larry lets it go. And it bounces to Mario Ellie. A double-digit deficit, and the shot clock winds all the way down before you get one off. That's a bad sign. Nice pass inside from Avery Johnson to Sean Elliott, but he's denied by Sprewell. Knicks need to score every time they touch it, and quickly. Camby. not what he had in mind.
When you look back at the 8 assists that New York has tonight, there's a couple of reasons why. First of all, San Antonio makes you play a lot of one-on-one basketball and make shots. New York has not been able to do that. But more importantly, it's going to be a deflection, so New York will keep it. But more importantly, New York doesn't have that point guard, but when things happen like this, they can break down the defense and create a shot for Houston, create a shot for Sprewell. Those guys have to do all the creating, and it just wears them out.
3 seconds to get a shot off. And look where it goes into. They're going to have a 24-second violation.
Well, the last 2 times they've come out of a timeout and they've had 2 shot clock violations. And you can say, well, what are the Knicks trying to do? They're trying to get to the basket, and the Spurs won't cooperate. They're contesting every shot. Look at this. They got 8 points on 17 possessions. And, Bob, I think they really, that last 2 possessions of that third quarter, we're going to look back on when it was a 3-point game. They scored 4 points to push it to 7. That was a tough stretch for them.
With only about 3 seconds to go in the third quarter, Sean Elliott with a very difficult baseline drive. He's fouled, but he misses the free throw, and Duncan grabs the rebound and sticks it right back in for a 4-point trip.
And it goes from 3 to 7, and they haven't recovered. It's very much similar to Game 1 when they got outscored 14-2 to end the half.
Sean Elliott, complimentary player now with these Spurs, but only 3 years ago, a 20-point scorer. Once again, your late local news, Tonight Show, Late Night with Conan O'Brien on NBC, on CNBC. More basketball, complete post-game report immediately after the final buzzer. Here's Sprewell, and a foul on the play. It's on Sean Elliott, his third. The San Antonio Spurs have closed out all 3 playoff series leading up to this one on the road. So in a sense, their fans have never gotten a chance to really let loose and celebrate, although 40,000 are making plenty of noise here. 40,000 is tremendous for a finals game, but this is not a basketball arena. It was built for football. And the owners of the Spurs believe they need a basketball-only arena with the type of amenities that are revenue-producing for the team to be successful in the long run. There is even talk of the possibility of their leaving town, as slim as that possibility might be. Now a referendum is almost certain to go on the ballot here in the near future that would commit at least some public funds to the building of a new basketball-only arena for the Spurs. And if past history is an indication, when a team does especially well right on the brink of one of those votes, like the Mariners did in Seattle, like the Padres did in San Diego, it pushes it over the top. If the Spurs come back home from New York with a championship, or even if they win it here, obviously, one way or the other, that's going to help them get a new building.
Well, also, too, Bob, Tim Duncan is waiting to see what he's going to do contractually to see if they're going to get that arena, the building that they want. They can ill afford to lose this guy, and this is a great NBA city. Let's hope that they can keep the Spurs here, because through the years that I've been here, these fans have been terrific. They love basketball here.
It was a great ABA city, and it's been a great NBA city for more than 2 decades. Elliott can't get it done at the line, but they still lead by 10, and the fans are chanting, sweep, sweep. Houston kicked it away into the hands of Greg Popovich, the Spurs coach.
Remember in our open we said, can the Knicks keep it close? Can they then come through in the fourth quarter? 7 turnovers in the fourth quarter, a lot of that fatigue. And Allen Houston and Sprewell 1 for 12 in game 1. In the fourth quarter tonight, they have not been able to score either.
Duncan with 6 on the 24, but they're in no hurry. Duncan with 2 seconds to shoot. Avery Johnson did not beat the shot clock. A minute 41 remaining. The Knicks will go back to New York, barring a miracle here, down 0-2.
And Bob, there's nothing wrong with their game plan defensively. Look at the score. They got 69 points. Can they find a way to manufacture points? Remember, Portland was held 20 points below their regular season average when they played San Antonio in the conference finals. They averaged 77 points a game.
The Knicks are shooting 30% in the game on 23 of 76. Sprewell improves that a bit. They're down 8. Mario Ellie, good free throw shooter if they're thinking about fouling him. Avery Johnson to Duncan. And that may spell good night.
Bob, how frightening it is. This guy has played 1 year and 50 games in the NBA, and he's already the best player in the league. How frightening, and the future for this young guy as he rolls into a Game 2 victory. Avery Johnson said, I'm just going to throw it. If I keep it in the building, Tim Duncan will find it, and he does. And I think that does it. I think that closes the Knicks out. But Tim Duncan, the relentless runner, we've seen it all through the playoffs. He plays minute 1 through 48. And David Robinson, the leader, the guy who's been there for him, loves it.
Tremendous ovation just subsiding now at the Alamo Dome. In the minds of many of these fans, they're giving their champions-to-be a send-off. That's just from their perspective. They don't think they're coming back here for a Game 6. This is a team that hasn't lost 2 games in a row in almost 4 months, and will be, assuming a victory tonight, 44-6 over their last 50 games after a 6-8 start. Sprewell around Elliott, but it squirts out of his hands. Camby claims it. Childs fires a 3. It rims out, and the ball goes out of bounds to San Antonio. Well, that could have given them a glimmer of hope, would have brought them to within 7 with over a minute left.
Well, Childs is 1 for 7 tonight. He was 1 for 8 in Game 1, so he's 2 for 15 in the series. So as well as he played earlier, he has not been able to do that in this round here in the first 2 games.
Camby fouls out. And we're looking at the lowest scoring finals game in NBA history. Fort Wayne beat Syracuse in the first year of the shot clock in 1955, 74-71. The combined points here will be lower than that.
Marcus Camby fouls out with 6 points and 11 rebounds, gave them good energy, did some good things for them, but you could just see not able to manufacture any points. You know, you're talking about a guy who the last 2 games against Indiana averaged over 18 points a night. So they have just taken away all the scoring and made Houston and Sprewell work hard for every basket as we see Robinson lead, and they've just worn them down. About David Robinson, 16 points on 8 shots. That's pretty good production. That means 2 points every time he puts the ball up.
Inside a minute, after the 2 free throws by Avery Johnson, Spurs by 12. Sprewell leans in and banks it in. He wanted a foul on top of it, but doesn't get it. Bumped and fouled. 42 seconds. David Robinson, 16 points on 5 of 8, as you said, Doug. 11 rebounds, plus 5 blocked shots. And his former Dream Team teammate, 92 Olympics, Patrick Ewing, looking on helplessly from the bench. He did so much to get this team here, and did a lot of it through clenched teeth. And he's smiling. They show his image on the board, and some fans showing class cheer. Others boo. How do you boo a guy who's had a career like his?
Well, you can't. I mean, Patrick is the ultimate guy who you would love to see out there playing right now. And as he strokes that chin, you can only imagine what's going through his mind right now. Just to be out there and be a part of this to try to help his team. Most frustrating thing, Bob, I went through that in 1980 with the 76ers. I injured my knee, could not play in the finals, and saw Magic Johnson and the Lakers beat the 76ers. What a frustrating feeling it is to sit there and watch and not be able to help.
Sprewell to the left hand, tough hoop. Sprewell now with 26 points. And he's the game's high man. Duncan has 25 for the Spurs. Here's Mario Ellie, clobbered by Chris Childs. Ellie's shot has not been there for him, really, for much of the postseason, and so far through 2 games of the finals. But he is a tough defender, and he's an inspirational guy on this team, so they want him on the floor as much as possible.
You know, I'm sitting here by Dave Checketts, who's obviously the president of the Knicks, and he was talking to me, and he said, you know what? Until you see these guys in person, you don't realize how tough Elliott, Jackson are on the perimeter defensively. And he's, you know, as I talked to him between the timeout, you see Dave right there. He said, you know what? Our guys are playing. At least we can't find a way to get the ball in the basket as Tim Duncan leaves the game. And you see his numbers.
25 and 15 with 4 blocks thrown in. You know, everyone talks, and understandably so, about New York being a Cinderella team, considering they were in danger of not even making the playoffs late in the season. But with the exception of 3 guys, Elliott, Duncan, and Robinson, who were first-round draft picks, this Spurs team is a team of vagabonds. Here's Antonio Daniels out to Jaren Jackson, who's one of them. Jaren Jackson finally hits a 3, which is some satisfaction for him. But Jackson's a guy who's been with 8 teams. Mario Elie played with a bunch of CBA teams, played in 4 different countries. Avery Johnson was cut twice by the Spurs. So if these guys are closing in on a championship, it's been after a long, hard road for most of them. They take a 2-game lead to New York, winning game 2, 80-67. The Admiral is with Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thanks, Bob. I'm here with David Robinson. David, sort of a strange game in the beginning, but you guys showed so much poise and concentration coming back in the second half.
Yeah, you know, it was ugly. When you got 2 defensive teams like that, you might end up shooting 20 and 30%, but the defense really kept us in there tonight, man. It was ugly. We couldn't get in the basket, but we made some great plays defensively.
And you yourself have made some great plays. You seem to do whatever is needed on this team for them to win.
I've really had to adjust to that all year, and the guys know that they get a big spark off of me when I can get a steal or a block, and so I really take a lot of pride in doing that for this guy.
All right, congratulations, David. We will see you next time.
All right.
All right, back to you, Bob.
Ahmad, a final bit of bookkeeping. The last basket by the Knicks kept this from being the lowest scoring game in finals history, but barely. The Spurs winning it by 13. Tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern, it's 3rd-round coverage of the 99th U.S. Open Championship from Pinehurst, North Carolina. This is the rest of our finals schedule, beginning with Game 3 from Madison Square Garden Monday at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The golf coverage comes up over the weekend, the U.S. Open on NBC. Now tonight, after your late local news, it's The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and Jay's guests include Robert Wagner. Then late night with Conan O'Brien with Mike Myers. For those of you who'd like to continue with NBA coverage, a post-game report is immediately available on CNBC. For Doug Collins, Ahmad Rashad, and Jim Gray, I'm Bob Costas. See you Monday night from New York. This has been the NBA on NBC.